70's and 80's TV and the effect it had on me. This week on Dave J. Tuesday.
Hey, one and all, it is your old pal Dave J. from New York City. Songwriter, performer, storyteller, characters. It is Tuesday, January 26th, 2021, the fourth and final Tuesday of the month and year in January, that is. Welcome, one and all. Beetle Mike is here to greet us from the very beginning, saying, hey, Dave J. Beetle Mike here, yeah, as I do the proverbial arm swing. Is it proverbial or is it literal? Actually, I guess it would be literal, but who's counting? In any case, we're happy you're here. We've got a great show planned. We're looking back, as we've been doing over the month of January, for the better part of it, at my early years, perhaps your early years. Tonight, we'll be focusing specifically on the IDIOTBOX as we all knew it. And Sean Hanshaw is here. Yo. Yeah, see that? Anyway, Dave J. Power. Actually, I guess that's Black Power. So wait, is this Black Power? Wait, maybe this should be Dave J. Power. Give me a wallet. Nah, all right, I don't know what I'm doing here. Well, in any case, and in putting together tonight's show, goodness gracious, there's so many different shows. I just kept going. So many different influences from television back when I was growing up. And you perhaps may say the same to yourself. And Adam Slavitt is here saying, hey, bud. That's the way I interpret it. Hey, bud. You can interpret it as you wish. Do let us know who's here and how you're doing, where you are, and so forth in the commenter section below. And do us another flavor, as my old mentor, Mr. Lamp, probably would say. I think he said that. I feel like it's in my brain that he said that. But let us know in the commenter section below as well the TV shows that you loved, perhaps the TV shows you loathed as a kid. Loathed, word of the day.
Word of the day.
Never gets old. Okay, does it? If it gets old, let us know in the commenter section below. Okay, well, I'm going to kick things off with one of many childhood favorites. This was a show whose influence, I might say, was priceless. You, however, might say that the main character's value was something more in line of $6 million. How much is that in Bitcoin?
Looks good, that's on. Roger. BCS arm switch is on. Okay, Victor. Landing rocket arm switch is on. Here comes the throttle. Chevy breakers in. We have separation. Inboard and outboard are on. Coming forward with the side stick. Looks good. Roger. I've got a blowout. Neighbor 3. Get your pitch to 0. Pitches up. I can't hold altitude. Correction. Alpha hold is on. Truck collectors emergency. Flight call. I can't hold it. She's breaking up. She's
breaking up.
Steve Austin, astronaut, a man barely alive.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. We have the capability to make the world's first bionic man. Steve Austin will be that man. Better than he was before. Better, stronger, faster.
Gotta add that little universal dun 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 at the end. You know, one of my favorite characters in that show was the guy who played Oscar Goldman. That would be Steve Austin's boss. And by the way, let's not confuse Steve Austin, the wrestler, with Steve Austin, the astronaut, as you just saw in that clip. Welcome, Jeff Friedman. Howdy, neighbor, he's saying. He's Adam Slavitt's neighbor, if you don't mind me giving that away live on the broadcast. I'm wearing my glasses so that I could do my little Oscar Goldman impression for you. He'd always get serious with Steve Austin, and he'd whip off his glasses. Whenever he got serious, he'd say, Steve. He would always do that. I had to do it as a kid. I wore glasses as a kid, as many of you know, and I would always do that with my glasses. Every time I'd see him do it, I go, Steve. He was fantastic. Richard Anderson played Oscar Goldman, as you saw there in the clip. Well, I know I played you the whole clip, but you know, Steve Austin, I had the $6 Million Man doll. Did you have that? Did you have the doll? Let us know in the commenter section below. It had the little rubber thing you'd pull up on the arm. You'd see the bionics. By the way, we are in the future. Are there bionics by now? Shouldn't there be bionics? I suppose it's probably a good thing in this day and age, in the current climate, that we don't have bionics. I mean, if they had bionics, they'd probably destroy Seattle or something. Oh, wait. Yeah. Never gets old. Okay, you know, you may notice the difference in theme songs to television shows nowadays versus the ones from back then, because then that was a minute and a half long. And I'm not even sure I played the whole clip. I think I condensed it for tonight. Jeff Friedman is here. He says, yes, we are neighbors in Bel Air, of course. Yes, you and the Fresh Prince. But we're not going to get into that show tonight. You know, the next show does have a longer theme song. As I was about to contrast with, today's theme song is only about 15 seconds long. I some years ago was trying to submit a song to a current television show as a songwriter myself, and the music supervisor said, no, we're not accepting, like, I was going to give him a pop rock song, 2 minutes long. They're like, you could use a portion of it. They're like, no, all theme songs today are 15 seconds, boom, into the show. And I think in some ways, although it's good to get right into the show, we know our attention spans are decimated at this point. Decimated word of the day. I don't have time to go to the bumper, but you know what I mean. And the theme songs back then, though, they were so purposeful, because so often they explained the show, but also they were catchy more than anything else. Great pieces of music. John Williams worthy pieces of music. And though this next theme song is not John Williams, it is a great theme song nonetheless, and a character beloved to all of us. That's right. Now, I appreciate your comments. I'm going to get to them in just a bit. Please keep them coming. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make a quick program note, and you can comment on this as well. The interviews that I've begun to do, you've seen in recent episodes with my mentor from childhood, Marshall Zucker, as well as my dear pal, Gina Mutone Jacobson, have been bowling them over, really going over great. Gangbusters is the word I just thought of, yes. And I'm going to be doing more interviews. I've already slated the likes of the aforementioned mentor, Damian Keyes. He's going to do an interview with me next week, as well as my childhood pal, Stephen Glicksman. And I've also, at some point very soon, I'm going to have the also aforementioned Danny Weinkoff, the bass player with They Might Be Giants, and lead guy in his own kids band, the Red Pants Band. And I've been recording with him quite a bit. And others. Oh, including, I've already mentioned him tonight, Mr. Bob Lampf, my mentor from high school. So in a couple weeks from now, we'll probably be getting to the third installment of the early years episodics, and it'll be the high school years, and Mr. Lamp will be featured prominently there. But let's continue with the prominent features of tonight, because after all, not only were the 70s and 80s the age of great theme music, but it was also the dawn of the premium movie channel. And my parents, they jumped right on that bandwagon. Hi, Mom and Dad. You remember? Sure you do. I know you remember. You paid for HBO. We watched HBO. It was the mid-70s. And the first two items or programs that I remember making an impression on me on HBO, one was a movie and the other was a comedy special. And here now is a clip from each. See if you can guess. If you guessed Silent Movie by Mel Brooks, you are correctamundo, as the Fonz used to say. Ay. And when I saw that hat that Mel Brooks, or the character in the film, was called Mel Fun with two N's, when I saw that skipper hat he was wearing, I had to have one. Mom and Dad remembers I've had at least one, or maybe I had a bunch of them through the years, because I love that hat. I wish I had the picture ready. It just occurred to me in this moment, live on the air, that I have a picture of me in camp wearing that hat. Well, maybe another episode. In any case, the next segment from HBO, this did not have the immediate impact that it later had. Okay, later on, I heard some of this very material on a record album by this person. And but I did see this on HBO. I did see a little bit of this on HBO somehow, and I was like, what is this all about? It was so different. And I'm going to talk about how it was different in just a moment, but enjoy.
So listen, how much was it to get in? $5? Okay, you paid the money, you're expecting to see a professional show, so let's not waste any more time. Let's go with professional show business. Let's go. Hey! Is this on? Is this mic on? Are we okay out there? Okay, I'm sorry. To open the show, I always like to do one thing that is impossible. So right now I'm going to suck this stool into my lungs.
There.
Hold on. Okay. Hey, how do you do? Glad you could come down. Hey, this is a beautiful set, really. Okay. All right, hold on now. I want to know where Jackson Pollock is. He's here. I know he's here. Whoops. Okay, I think we screwed around long enough. All right. Okay, let's start, huh?
Okay, let's just talk about Steve Martin and his stand-up comedy, which he was just beginning to break through at that point. I believe that special may have been 1976. Mom and Dad, back me up. Did you get HBO thereabouts, 1976? That would be my guess, with the two coalescing. Coalescing's a great word of the day, but I don't have time. Too much to get to. What made Steve Martin's stand-up comedy so unique and special for its time in particular was that he had formulated years before that, or had decided that he wasn't going to do the standard setup and punchline stand-up comedy that all the comedians up theretofore, I guess, had done. He decided he was going to try an experiment. He was going to try to be funny without the setup and the punchline. And so with the non sequitur joke, he attempted to develop material that would that would just be different. He also, secondarily to that, thought at the time he started in the late 60s, all the comedians were doing political humor. It was the Vietnam War era, as you know, and he realized at some point all this pressure, all this left and right, sound familiar? Coming at each other, he realized people are going to want to escape all that. People are going to want silliness. And he was ahead of that curve so brilliantly, and his material is so intellectually brilliant. And it's just so naturally funny. God, he's one of my favorites. When I heard those records, by then, the early 80s, oh, they knocked me out. We may do another episode on records, but for now, we're going to stick with TV. So, oh goodness, you're commenting the night away, as I guess to borrow a phrase. And I'm going to get to those comments soon, I promise, but not before telling you, speaking of movies, of a movie that, as I mentioned in a recent episode, maybe even my last or the one before that, was the first movie I ever saw in a movie theater in Livingston, New Jersey, in the Colony Theater with my mom and my brother Rob. We saw this movie on a double bill, but I probably wouldn't have been as impacted as I have been if it weren't for television, because television took a movie and it played it again and again, especially on HBO, but even on regular television, cable television, which was also coming in at that time. And Willy Wonka, especially played by Gene Wilder. Although Johnny Depp deserves some props for doing his version, Willy Wonka with Gene Wilder is the preeminent version. Preeminent, another brilliant word of the day, but no time. Wonka, as he lets me call him, had such an impact on me, both stylistically, his sort of backbiting, is that the word, backbite? His sort of dark undercurrent style, his way of dealing with people. You know what? I can't explain it. Just watch.
But hurry, please. We have so much time and so little to see. Wait a minute. Strike that. Reverse it. We have to get on. We have so much time and so little to do. Strike that. Reverse it. Time is a precious thing. Never wasted.
Snozberries. Who ever heard of a snozberry?
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
Look here, Wonka!
Excuse me, question time will come at the end of the session. We must press on. Come along. Come along.
Can we walk?
If the good Lord had intended us to walk, he wouldn't have invented roller skates. Where is fancy bread? In the heart or in the head? Little surprises around every corner, but nothing dangerous. Don't be alarmed. A little nonsense now and then is relished by the wisest men.
Yes.
What's that for?
Gives it a little kick. Candy is dandy, but liquor is quicker.
What is this, Wonka? Some kind of fun house?
Why, having fun?
Ruka! Sweetheart! Daddy's coming!
There's going to be a lot of garbage today.
Hey, get away from that thing!
Stop, don't come back.
Don't just stand there, do something!
Help. Police. Murder. You should open your mouth a little wider when you speak. She was a bad egg.
Oh, wait a minute, what's all that small print there at the bottom?
Oh, if you have any problems, dial information. Thank you for calling. I'm a trifle deaf in this ear. Speak a little louder next time. The suspense is terrible.
He's gonna go this time.
I hope it'll last.
Go on, boy.
The spring. I told you not to, silly boy.
You sure this thing will float, eh, Wonka?
With your buoyancy, sir, rest assured.
You stole fizzy lifting drinks. You bumped into the ceiling, which now has to be washed and sterilized, so you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. I said good day.
Gene Wilder, huh? Just the best. Don't you think? Well, let's see what you think. Let's see what you wrote. Let's take a look with my specs here and get back to, we said we got to the greetings already. By the way, I'm going to invite you to commenter on one other thing that I was starting to tell you. It occurs to me now that I didn't follow through with these interviews that I'm about to conduct with Damian Keyes, I've told you, my social media musician mentor, with Mr. Lamp, my high school mentor, with Stephen Glicksman, my childhood friend, with, who was the other one I mentioned? Whoever that was, you'll remember. Let us know in the commenters. Remind me in the commenter section below. In any case, if you have any questions you'd like me to ask these fine folks, why, I will be happy to include them. Feel free to direct message me, email me, send a carrier pigeon, however you'd like to contact me, but you can also let me know in the commenter section below. And speaking of which, let's not delay any further. Let's get to your comments. Sean Hanshaw says he had the action figure. I'm sure he's talking about Steve Austin, the $6 Million Man. He says you could look through the back of his head into, and of course through, his bionic eye. I remember that. Yes. It was the roll-up rubber piece on his arm. It was the bionic eye. What else did he have? Did he have a leg I think he had a leg that stomped grapes and made wine. No, that was something else. I'm sorry. I'm sure it's something else. Beetle Mike says, great show, $6 Million Man. Did you know that Lee Majors' real name is Lee Harvey Oswald? No, that's not what it says. Wait a minute. It says Harvey Lee Yeary. That's very different. Okay. He says, and he chose his name Majors because he was a big fan of Johnny Majors from Tennessee. Now, you'll have to let us now know in the commenter section below, Beetle Mike, who was Johnny Majors. Sounds like he was an action figure himself. Let's continue on. Beetle Mike adds the Rockford Files. That was his favorite. Let's see who gave him a love heart thing on that. That was Debbie Marie. Welcome, DM. I don't know if D is here, but Debbie Marie, you know we love you. We miss you. Maybe we don't miss you because you're here. So we don't miss you now because we love you. But you get the idea. We don't have time for this mushy-gushy stuff. Let's continue on. Beetle Mike says, would you believe 2 German shepherds in a rowboat? Of course, he starts, would you believe, and that can only mean Maxwell Smart Agent 86, which was co-created by Buck Henry and my hero, as referenced earlier in the silent movie clip, Mel Brooks. Yes. Okay, continuing on. Sean Hanshaw says, Violet, you're turning violet, Violet, which was a great line, one of the many from the Chocolate Factory, Charlie and actually it was called Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, wasn't that? There were different titles for Roald Dahl wrote the book. And you know there's a sequel to the book, I wish I had it ready today, but I don't, called The Great Glass Wonkavator was the name of the sequel book. And I wrote a song based on the sequel book, thinking somehow I can use this. And I'll have to share that on a future episode. For now, let's continue on. Beetle Mike says, head coach at University of Tennessee. And that's who Johnny Majors was. And I guess Lee Majors was an athlete? Is that why he played for that head coach, perhaps? Lee Majors was an athletic-looking fella. I guess to be an astronaut, you probably have to be something of an athlete, but who knows? Speaking of being an athlete, unlike today where screen is king, I added the extra G apostrophe because of the influence from Jimmy Durante, but that's neither here nor there. Actually, it's more there than here. But the point being that back in the 70's and 80's, you didn't have to spend all your time. Sure, we watched plenty of television, but you didn't have to spend all your time on screens like today. No. You'd spend plenty of time watching television, then Saturday morning would come, and guess where you'd be? Down at the schoolyard playing ball with your friends. Now, we played football just like everyone else, but then we played a very special game that I'm sure a lot of you played as well. We called it Kill the Guy with the Ball. And I wanted to kind of commemorate those great Saturday morning and afternoons at the Harrison School playground with my friends. And I wrote a song with the same title. Enjoy now, Kill the Guy with the Ball, the song.
Kill the guy with the ball. Everybody kill the guy. Kill the guy. Kill the guy with the ball. Everybody kill the guy. Kill the guy with the ball. When we were kids, it was all some playground all day. The guy with the ball could outrun us all, and our bodies never gave way. Zakarov to Frida, it landed with Lance. McDermott soon got his chance. The Rocket to James and Tylager names that take me to days when the simplest game was to kill the guy with the ball. Everybody kill the guy, kill the guy, kill the guy with the ball. Everybody kill the guy, kill the guy. Livingston weekends spent with my friends. Days turned to dusk and sneakers were caked in mud. Simplicity, suburban style. We ran round in circles for miles while we killed the guy with the ball. Everybody kill the guy, kill the guy, kill the guy with the ball. Everybody kill the guy with the ball. Today it's so different in society, but if it were left up to me, we'd return to a time surreal and sublime, where violent laughter was never a crime. While we kill the guy with the ball. Everybody kill the guy, kill the guy, kill the guy with the ball. Everybody kill the guy with the ball. Let's get a game.
Yes, let's get a game, whether we call it Kill the Guy with the Ball or Kill the Man with the Ball, as you, Sean Hanshaw, did on Jefferson Court, named for the late great president, right? The great congressional fella? The Declaration of Independence author? No doubt that was the Jefferson you speak of. Well, in any case, Beetle Mike points out that Lee Majors, in fact, did play football at Eastern Kentucky U. And you, my friends, will be delighted in hearing not only did we go play sports when we were off the TV, but back on TV, this is the creme de la creme I'm going to share tonight. This is the centerpiece of my entire TV viewing experience. I watch a documentary about this at least once, if not many times a year. I love this moment in television and sports history more than any other. And of course, I'm talking about February 1980, the U.S. hockey team versus USSR. This I watched as an 11-year-old with my brother, 3 years older than me, and my dad came home and he caught it with us when he came home from work in New York City. And I'm just gonna, I cut it into 3 segments to make it palatable. Again, word of the day, but we don't have time for the bumper. Check out segment 1, the first period of 3. Check it out.
The excitement, the tension building, the Olympic Center filling to capacity. Hello again, everybody. I'm Al Michaels along with Ken Dryden. It should be a great night. I'm sure there are a lot of people in this building who do not know the difference between a blue line and a clothesline. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter because what we have at hand, the rarest of sporting events. An event that needs no build-up, no superfluous adjectives. In a political or nationalistic sense, I'm sure this game is being viewed with varying perspectives, but manifestly, it is a hockey game. The United States and the Soviet Union on a sheet of ice in Lake Placid, New York. Ken, some of your thoughts before the game.
Well, Al, for the U.S. team, it's really discovery time. It's one thing to be young and promising, and it's quite another to be good. And in the next 2.5 hours, the U.S. team players will go through perhaps the most difficult and demanding yet exhilarating time of their lives. They will be playing against a very good team, a team that's better than they are, And after that time, after it's all over, this team will find out an awful lot about themselves. They'll simply find out how good they are.
And Jim Craig again in the nets for the United States. Vladislav Tretiak in the nets for the Soviet Union. Some consider him the best goalie in the world. So Craig tested for the first time and equal to the task.
A very big save by Jim Craig this early in the game.
Losing it out to the point. Slap shot, and it was deflected in from the point. The Soviet Union takes a 1-0 lead. Kasatonov's slap shot was deflected in past Craig.
I think the crowd is perhaps a little bit like the team out there. Everybody's just a little bit tight. They need something to happen to loosen up.
Exactly, and the Americans with very little offense thus far. Pavlich taking it away for the U.S. Pavlich up ahead to Schneider. Slap shot goes in for Schneider. That's the type of goal you don't expect somebody like Tretiak to give up. And the United States ties the game at 14:03 in the period.
Well, once again, it's Pavlich and Schneider combining a long shot from a fairly severe angle, catching Tretiak in the top glove side. He's well out. He's in good position, although he was moving a little bit in the opposite direction to where the shot went. Here we can see it again in the top corner.
Soviets, the shot by Harlamov and the glove save off the face-off by Craig. Golikov passing over to his brother, number 25, and Makarov's shot, the save by Craig. Golikov, number 23, leaving it for Makarov. He tried to get it back to Golikov, then gets it back and scores. Deflected off the American defenseman, and the Soviets take the lead 2-1. Scoring, it's been changed. They've given the goal, as we saw in the replay, to Krutov for the Soviet Union. That made it 1-0. Long shot, the easy save by Tretiak, but Johnson is there and scores with 1 second to play in the period. Right now the clock shows nothing, but it was stopped at 1 when we looked up as the goal was scored. Right now it shows nothing as the period apparently has come to an end. But the United States has tied the game.
A big, big goal for the U.S. team. Ken Morrow took a shot from the other side of center ice, it's Dave Christian, knowing that there was almost no time on the clock, but the rebound comes right out to Mark Johnson, who goes wide of Tretiak to tie it up.
For me, that was my favorite goal of the game in many ways because it was a never quit goal, and that's what this country represents. The United States of America, never quit, last second, pull it off, pull it out. We can do it. Oh man, I in fact failed to set up for you, in case you didn't know, and you're watching this program, that the game took on, as Al Michaels, the announcer, had sort of touched on in the beginning, that there was a sort of nationalistic sense. There was a time when the Soviet Union, that red hockey team, was our enemy because they represented everything that freedom did not. You know, they took away freedom from their people. And we, here in America, have the freedom to live stream and blather on like idiots and so forth, and say whatever we want, because there's freedom of speech here. Not so in the Soviet Union. Now, the second period that we're about to embark upon viewing, less eventful than the first, but not as eventful as the third. So, it's brief, but there is a special surprise guest near the end, so check it out and enjoy.
As we start the second period now, a change for the Soviet Union as Vladimir Mushkin becomes the new goalie after Tretiak had given up 2 in the first period. Krutov up ahead to Maltsev. Maltsev on a breakaway. Maltsev gets it by Craig to give the Soviets the lead. The Soviet Union leading the United States 3-2. The Harlamov, Petrov, Mikhailov line out there for the Soviet Union. The line that has skated together on the Central Army team for the last 9 years. The Soviets with a 20-man roster, 11 of those players play on the same team in the Soviet Union. Of course, the Americans with 9 fellas either formerly or currently with the University of Minnesota. But a great disparity in experience. The second period at the Olympic Ice Center. It's still the Soviet Union 3 and the United States 2.
Wow, Jamie Farr, can you believe it? Wow, goodness gracious, he wasn't even wearing a dress. And for those of you who know the 70s and 80s television, you'll know that that's a reference to MASH, the brilliant television show starring Alan Alda, among many others. In any case, I didn't even have time to put that on my list, but that was certainly a fantastic show that we all loved. Jamie Farr was there. Can you believe it? Well, I don't even want to delay any further because the third and final period of this game proved to be the greatest moment in sports history, simply put. And I just want to comment that we really need this spirit back in this country, the US of A. It is an exceptional country. It is the greatest country in all of human history, and I'm not ashamed to say it. And I hope you feel that way too, and that you're not one of these people who's ashamed of our country. Sure, there have been mistakes and problems and things we've done wrong, like every other human being in human history. But we really need this spirit back because we are exceptional and we help more people than you could possibly count on your fingers and toes. All right, my proselytizing is done. I can't resist proselytizing. Come on, word of the day.
Word of the day.
Thank you for indulging me. Here's part 3. Oops, that's camera 3. Ha! Can you see what I did here? It's live. Here's part 3.
As we start the third period, the Soviet Union on top 3-2. Pushkin tested only once thus far. The Americans with perhaps their final rush on this power play opportunity. 13 seconds left in the penalty. We chopped it in, it's followed by Johnson. They score!
The puck went to Starikov, the Soviet defenseman who should have had very good control of it, but he lost it. Here's Silk. Now watch the puck go to Starikov. He's in good shape with it, but he loses it right on the Johnson stick and in the net.
So the Americans, just as the penalty had expired, the Krutov scored to tie the game. And finally the building has come to light. 3-3. The United States and the Soviet Union with 11:21 remaining in the third period.
Well, here's where the game becomes a little bit painful, especially for the U.S. team. They know they're playing against a Soviet team that's very good and very explosive, and they're trying to get to a point where they can set the proper course of the game for them. They want the enthusiasm, but they also want the control, and they've got to find the proper balance.
Schneider, Buzz, long slap shot, saved by Mushkin.
The U.S. team is depending a little bit too much now on Jim Craig. He's making too many good saves.
Eruzione! Mike Eruzione! Got Bedlam. Oh, I love Brooks' reaction. Here it is again.
Here's Eruzione using the defenseman as a screen. A good low shot.
That goal coming at the 10-minute mark. Exactly halfway through the period. 1:57 left in the game. 4-3, the United States.
Be that much of an underdog and give the kind of performance that the U.S. team has had, that's very remarkable.
Remember, the Soviets have a lot of the same players on the team that came over here and beat the New York Rangers and the New York Islanders and Quebec at the end of 1979. Puck is still loose. 11 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Silk. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
Unbelievable.
Teams congratulating each other after the game. The crowd still roaring. Look at Jim Craig. Oh. The United States hockey team, average age 22. Herb Brooks, head coach. Craig Patrick, assistant coach. Unknown, totally anonymous a week and a half ago. Look at Herb Brooks.
No notes tonight.
It makes me emotional every time I see it. We need that back in this country. Well, what I need right now is a good joke. How about you?
Honey, why hasn't your mother ever liked me?
She likes you, Julie. It's just she never was crazy about any girls I went out with. They were either too fat, too skinny, too short, too tall, too loud, too quiet. But I finally found a girl that was exactly like my mother. I mean, how could she complain? This girl looked like my mother, she talked like my mother, she walked like my mother, same personality.
Well, what happened?
My father hated her. Welcome Back, Carter has been recorded live on tape before a studio audience.
Of course, Welcome Back, Kotter was another of my favorite shows. I loved the comedian Gabe Kaplan, and I loved the humor and the characters on that show, but none more than a particular character when I was a kid. This was a kid named Horshack. Yes, well, Horshack, played by Ron Palillo, the late Ron Palillo, God rest his soul, and I was fortunate, or was I, to have met him in about 1999. I was temping in a medical office, an allergist's office. I guess he's passed away, Ron Palillo, so I guess the HIPAA laws may not cover him now. I don't know. The estate may come after me, but I'm devil may care, and so I'm going to tell you this story. So I was temping in this office at the front desk, and what we would do in medical offices, typically, they probably still do it today, is they'd take a look at the schedule for the next day, and they'd say, okay, we see these patients are coming in tomorrow, let's pull the charts out of the chart area and ready them with face sheets. The face sheet was kind of the billing sheet that the doctor would check off the diagnosis and the reason they came and so forth, and would have your information on it. So I'm pulling, and the office manager said, Dave, would you pull the charts for tomorrow? So I'm looking and I go, Ron Palillo is coming, what? So I say to the office manager, this is the Ron Palillo who I loved so much on Welcome Back, Kotter? And she says, yeah. And I say, listen, I know it would be inappropriate, but I'm going to ask anyway. Would you mind if when he comes in, I could just tell him how much he meant to me as a kid? She said, and I quote, at your own risk. I said, I don't know what that means, but no matter. I am doing this thing. This is my one chance to let Ron Palillo. I should have learned, well, this was before Peter Tork. I should have learned from Ron Palillo. For Peter Tork was much worse than Ron Palillo, mind you. So I guess this went progressively worse throughout the years. But in any case, this is what happened. The next day, I positioned myself at the center of the front desk. I know Ron Palillo is coming in at 12:30. I'm there and I'm ready. He comes in according to clockwork, and I say to him, I check him in, and then I say, excuse me, Mr. Palillo, please forgive me for crossing a line, but I just want to let you know, every Thursday night, 7:30 p.m., I was there, stationed in front of my TV because of you. You were my favorite character. He said, where did you grow up? I said, New Jersey, here around New York. He goes, it was 8 o'clock. I'm like, oh my goodness, he corrected my compliment. This is, and then he proceeded to tell me about his work in Shakespeare in the Park. He wouldn't shut up. The warning heeded true. Oh, goodness gracious, what had I unleashed upon the world, upon me, upon the medical office? He was there at an allergist's office. Perhaps they were allergic to his stories there. I don't know. Goodness gracious, we're going to have to bring in the show for a landing, but not before I share just one song with you. After all, there's a song for a TV show that I watched quite a bit as a kid. Let's tape up the chords as I speak with you, and I give away all my behind. In fact, can you see it? I'm gonna show you a little behind the scenes. Here, camera 3. There you go. See that? I just taped these up. Your comments are here. My monitor is there, and then these are the chords. Okay. All right. Check this out. This is a show that I watched in syndication. You may have watched it the first time around. You may have watched it in syndication, but we all loved it. It was based on The Honeymooners, and it was a show with the inimitable, another great word of the day we don't have time for, the inimitable Fred Flintstone. Here's the Flintstones theme, my own arrangement for it. Enjoy. Flintstones, meet the Flintstones, they're the modern Stone Age family. From the town of Bedrock, they're a page right out of history. Let's ride with the family down the street, through the courtesy of Fred's 2 feet. And when you're with the Flintstones, have a yabba dabba do time, a yabba do time. We'll have a gay old time. Then I worked out a solo section. Here's the rhythm part. Flintstones, meet the Flintstones, meet the Flintstones, meet them now. Someday, maybe Fred will win the fight, then that cat will stay up all the night. When you're with the Flintstones, have a yabba dabba do time, a dabba do time. We'll have a gay old time. Wilma! Okay. Woo! Yeah. All right, I feel good. I hope you feel great. I hope you've had a yabba dabba do time, if nothing else. And I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. DM says, cool song, LOL. Well, I'm happy to sort of prematurely report that I believe I'll be recording that tune very shortly for public consumption. More on that later. But for now, I'd like to invite you to tune in next and every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think this felt so good tonight. We're going to do a part 2. So tune in next Tuesday. I believe we'll be able to do that next Tuesday. Part 2 of the IDIOTBOX influences. And until then, take good care, feel well, go America, come on. We need more of that, as I said. Thank you, Beetle Mike, fabtastic performance, and all of you. Sean says WBK is magical. WBK, I'm going to have to remember what that is. Welcome back, Cotter. Yes, WBK. We abbreviate everything now. Back then, we didn't say, I'm going to go Thursday night, I'm going to go WBK. No, the closest we'd come to that, of course, as is appropriate to mention, is WKRP. That we would say. I probably should include a few clips from that. We don't have time. Oh goodness, I wish we did. There's so many. We may have to have a part 3, but for now, part 1 is concluding. It's coming in for a landing right at your very feet. And have a wonderful night and a great week, and I'll see you next time on Dave J. Tuesday. Thank you so much.